Okay, it's 8 o'clock. You know what that means? It's time for a live stream. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. I'm just going to get my my other stream working here so I can answer your questions, take your questions, see what's going on. Okay, excellent. Good to see you joining in. But when I say good to see you joining in, I mean me, because I just joined in the stream. Wow, we're reaching that point of the week. Okay, welcome back. Welcome back to the live stream. Tonight is an extension of our formal message that we sent out on Tuesday night. We didn't get to do a live stream yesterday. Things got a bit wild in the SMWS HQ, and we had a few things that we had to get through, and both Andrew and I were unavailable, as it sometimes happens. However, what we do have tonight is an extension of the official announcement, and I thought I'd talk through some of the specifics, answer your questions about the branch handover, the new branch of the society that is this exciting new chapter for us at the SMWS, talking about all things to do with that. So whilst I do that, I'm going to pour myself a dram. This cable is definitely going to get in my way, but I'm going to try my luck until I yank it that way and the phone falls down. Okay. Ali's Whiskey, Dram joined, Matthew Blatchford, Whiskey Saurus, 45 Finn, Lockie 1987, Lee Wallace, Petrino 11, Jamie Poos 1985. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Always good to have a crowd. I'm going to pour a dram of Sweetness and Spice laced with mystery 16.39. It was our malt of the month for February. Yes. I'd have to find a February outturn to confirm. Wait, was it more than a month for February? Pretty sure it was. Or was that the month before? Time flies. No, it was more than the month of February. Sweetness and Spice laced with mystery 16.39 from the Get in the Mood outturn. We have just put the finishing touches on March outturn. No sneak previews just yet, but some things to come very shortly here at Society HQ. It's been a long, short, big week. Short for me because Monday I was working, but I was assessing spirits all day. That's a bit of a peasant pour, isn't it? Let me try that again. I was assessing single casks and single malts. Andrew and I tasted through 80 to 85 whiskies. If you watched the last stream that we put up on YouTube, you can watch what we talked about. A very impromptu stream, that one with Andrew and I. Oh, hey! Joker Morales, good to see you. Nick Husek, designed by K9, Sally, Instarol7. Everyone's tuning in. This is great. Good fun. Look at the colour on this thing. Look at the colour on that. It's positively almost pink. It's ruby and pink colours in that one. That's just delightful looking. A weirdly sober stream it was. I'm also weirdly sober right now. Lockie, I'm always sober when I start the stream, but maybe not so much at the end of it. I don't actually drink that much in the stream. In fact, sometimes I just nose the whiskey whilst I'm talking to you guys. Look, I'm going to enjoy this one though, however. Malt of the month, a really interesting whiskey. It's almost meaty. It's sweet. Cured meats. There's that spice. The spice would be the cured meats. It's sweetness and spice laced with mystery. Chocolate cream, like a bit of like chocolate, rich caramelly chocolate sauce. That is a rich whiskey. I like that. %. Take a feel punching. Okay. So, let's talk all things to do with this transition. I've even printed out the email. Just so I get the wording right, of course. For the last 18 years at the Society, we've been running what is essentially what could be called a franchise of the UK. It meant that Andre Tamis and John Rourke started the franchise in Australia in 2002. That was a very different era of whisky appreciation back then. The knowledge was much smaller. The amount of people enjoying single malt whiskey was much, much smaller. A lot has changed, and the society in Australia and around the world has led that change to a large degree. I'm not going to say that we haven't. We absolutely have. We are a society of firsts, and I don't just mean dot ones sometimes. In some cases, I mean we're the first to bottle certain single malts as single malt whiskey. The first to host certain events. The Whisky Championships. We've been driving malt whisky appreciation and enjoyment in Australia now for 18 years. That is not changing. Nothing is changing. In fact, if you reread that email, it is all about business as usual. The club continues as it goes on, And all it means is we are going to be growing and growing from here, which is fantastic. What growth means is it means more members join, more members discover the society, get into the society, come to the events, drink their amazing single casks, take them home, pop them open and enjoy them. Which means that our allocations get wider, which means that the number of bottlings we get from each allocation gets wider. It means our access of distilleries gets wider as the society grows internationally. Monster of Malt, Whiskey Steen, some Rowan guy, thanks for tuning in. We're just talking about some of the this stream is an opportunity for me to just reiterate what we said in the email the other day to all the members about how the branch is undergoing a transition at the moment. And as of next Tuesday, we will be completely a wholly owned subsidiary of SMWS UK, the Vaults, which is exciting. So we're heading into a new territory of the society. It will no longer be a franchise. It will be a wholly owned subsidiary. Our access to and our closeness to the Vaults has just narrowed really nicely, which means that we are basically a direct bloodline of the Vaults now here in Australia, which is actually a huge benefit for members. So the idea behind tonight is for me to talk with you about those changes that are happening at our company, at the society, at the club, and the branch transition that we've been going through, and the changes that we've been seeing, and what that means for you, and take your questions. What's going to change? Not much, but if you've got any questions, I'll answer them. Teague's joined, Whiskey Jusmo joined, some Ryan guy asks, when do we expect to see the new branded bottles? Really soon, Rowan Guy. I'd say as early as next month. We've got some of the casks coming in next month, might be new livery. I'd have to double check. But if they're not, they're certainly we're going to start seeing new livery here in Australia, April, May. There is a shipping delay always. That's one thing that we can't change. We do ship most of our stock via sea freight, which means we keep the prices low for you. If we shipped everything air freight, we'd be adding $30, $40, $50 per bottle. That's the realities of shipping heavy glass with liquid inside it. And remember, it's at 55% of the weight is the glass, I think, and then the rest is the spirit weight. So it's expensive to ship glass, so that's why we mostly do sea freight. Some stuff comes in air, but most of it comes in sea. And therefore, the news livery that we're seeing, the new labels that we're seeing, you might be seeing over in the UK and maybe a little bit in the US. Actually, not even quite the US yet. Those are coming through slowly but surely. It's a slight relabel. The idea behind the relabel is it clears up the information portal on it a little bit cleaner. You get to see first cask and final cask if there's been a finish. So if a whiskey, in this case, has spent 16 years in an export pipe, 16 years in an export pipe, and then 2 years in a second fill European heavy toast medium char cask, then you'll see that on the label much more clearly, first and final. We don't do anything beyond that. It's always just that in some instances in Scotland, single cask is a bit of a lost term. It can be sort of, has in some cases some distilleries that shall remain nameless that have racked and re-racked casks endlessly before calling it a single cask because it finished for one day in a single cask. We don't do that. That's disingenuous. So you'll see some changes coming to the label. It clears up the information a bit, makes it a bit more. I think it's actually a far more functional label, and I think it looks just as good as the current ones. The flavour profiling is still there, of course. It's a bit tidier now. And we're moving to monogram, of course. The grand change to monogram, as we've been talking about, and if that doesn't show up really well in camera, it's also on the back here. So this is, of course, our next unfiltered magazine, which you're going to get in the mail very shortly. And when I say everyone gets it in the mail, I mean every member gets this in the mail. It's a double opening cover, a new leaf, and a new look for the society here. It's a really good issue as well, really good write-up. And of course, we're sending every member gets a new lapel pin. We send them all out very shortly. There they are. And it's the new monogram lapel pin, which is coming through for everyone. Okay, so let me grab some of these questions. So what does that mean for your management of the society in Australia? Whiskey Steens and more decision-making coming from the UK. Okay, so at the moment, we run very autonomously here in Australia in terms of our membership, in terms of our activations, our events, our casks, our bottlings, our releases, our content. Everything is run in Australia here for Australian members. That will not change. That it has not changed. There's no plan for that to change. We have a full planner for the next 3 years. None of that is changing in there. What will happen is our support network from the UK branch will greatly increase. What that means is if there's a campaign like The Gathering, which by the way is coming back this year, we'll see that again in September, October era, but the Gathering format will be back again this year, and we'll have the support from the UK for things like artwork, assets, casks, things like that, and it gives us a chance to say, you know what, there's this great opportunity for us to do The Gathering in Australia and bring everyone together, and that's what it's about. So if we're less isolated from them as a sort of a separate franchise of them, we're now combined with them in a way that we are actually have a. So that's a really good question, Tim, Whiskey Steens. It's a really good question because nothing actually changes. It really do mean the club is business as usual, and you get access to the casks you've always had, and you're going to get the range of casks will over time probably increase. We don't know yet. But it's really exciting because we're still offering up the same 12 to 18 casks a month, except for November, December issue, which last year was 35 casks on offer. A massive bumper issue, which we love doing. The November, December issue is a labor of love. It takes more than a month to put together in terms of all the lovely content, all the lovely casks, and everything we want in it. So that's always exciting. No, not more decision-making, Whiskey Steens, either. It's not so much decision-making. They love what we're doing here. They use our branch as examples of best practice around the world, which we love. They love our partner bar network. They love our events especially. So that won't change. They want us to continue that decision-making. So does this mean the same releases as the UK, Matt? Monster of Malt, that's a really good question. Andrew will be better placed to answer on, but I'm going to give you a very brief overview of the answer to that question. Yes and no. We currently do get the same releases in many times as the UK. What might happen is a parcel of casks will come to maturation or be bought at the same time. So let's say casks 68.32.33.34.35 might come all together. They all have similar specs. Andrew will pick out the ones off the tasting notes that he thinks would suit the Australian market, that members would love here. If we got all four, then that's just not how allocations work to begin with. But if we got all four, it might be a bit overkill of that one distillery profile or that one flavour profile. However, if Andrew's able to pick those casks out of the tasting notes and often off local tasting panel where available, which doesn't happen very often, then we're able to actually pick out the eyes of the best of the stock. The second thing is the reason why not all branches get the same casks of everything, and you'll see something in the UK that we don't get here, it works the other way around as well. The UK members see some of the stuff that goes in an Australian outturn and go, why didn't we get that here? The UK don't get everything. Some casks, in fact many casks, are split between, let's say, America, Japan, Australia, or might be split between Australia, China, or might be split between Benelux, Europe, and America. So the casks are split in a way that there's a fair allocation. If every branch in the world, all 27 continents where there's a 27 countries, where there's a society branch, got equal allocations of casks, the outturn amounts, instead of being a nice healthy 24 or 36 or 48 bottles or something like that from a cask, they'll all be like 4 bottles from that cask and 3 bottles from that cask because we've had to split it all evenly. No one wins in that scenario. So it's a chance for us to actually pick the eyes out of allocations, and we get in early because we're Sydney's first in the time zoning. So we get in early on the allocations and say, hey, you know what, these ones look really good, we're picking all these ones out. So we get a very healthy allocation. Just by the way, the UK offer up about 18 to 20 casks a month, and we're pushing about 15 to 18. So really, I mean, we get the cream of the crop to begin with, but we're also getting pretty much everything. There might be 1 or 2 things that we don't get here or there, and we know that, but we get other things that they don't get. That's how allocations work. I hope that answers your question. Why so close to March and sneak peeks maybe a Big Swirl or the other two? Big Swirl is coming, I can tell you that. Big Swirl is not in March outturn, however, but it will be released either just after or just before. So we're still working on that at the moment. It's still just we've got to get it landed first. But we're getting a nice healthy allocation. We've got a third. Just going back to Monster of Malt's question, actually, Big Swirl is our next big sherried blended malt. It's meant to be a fun, quaffable, enjoyable, shared with friends, 50% ABV, full sherry maturation, 10-year-old blended malt. We're getting a third of the global outturn on that cask. A third! At least a third, sorry. So that means that out of all the bottles that will yield, we're getting a third of them. So there's many branches that won't get it. We're pretty lucky in that regard. will you double up, pin up at events, one for each side? Yes, I will, Cal, just for you. There you go. Dr. Lockjoy, good to see you. Mount Slide Distilling Joy, good to see you. More opportunity for you to leverage stuff for Australian members. Yes, exactly, Whiskey Steens. An opportunity for me to leverage stuff for Australian members because it's a direct bloodline now. We are a direct subsidiary of the club, not a franchise. So I've got a bit more support now from the UK, especially in terms of activations, in terms of casks, and leveraging opportunities for our membership. SMWS art. Hey. Is anyone else connection a bit funny? I don't know. I think it might be your internet, Cal. Sorry. Cal, no, just Matt's hair is a bit more flowing than usual. It is a bit flowing tonight, isn't it? Even I noticed that. I wasn't going to say anything, though. His hair is throwing at your connection. Doing a great job. Thanks, Whiskey Juzmo. Is there no SMWS NZ or Polynesian? There's no Polynesian SMWS, but there is quite an active, small but active branch in New Zealand. How big is the Australian membership compared to UK and other countries? Nick Husek is... that's a very good question. Nick Husek, here's the answer for you. The Australian branch of the Scotch Malt Whisky Society is currently the third biggest branch of the society. I think that's bloody awesome. So it goes the UK, which of course should have the biggest membership. They've got the members' rooms. That's where it was founded. That's where it all runs. I get that. So UK, and it's also UK, it's the home of Scotland, and it's the home of whiskey. So the UK is the biggest membership, followed by the US. The US is massive. They have 335 million people living over there or something. So there's quite a big contingent of members in the United States, of course. And then Australia. We are the third biggest branch, and I'm really proud of that. I think it's really good. And we have 20-something million people in Australia. I don't know the exact 27 million or whatever it is. So we're punching well above our weight in terms of membership, which means that we punch well above our weight in terms of allocations, especially when compared to branches smaller than us, or compared to bigger than us. And after Australia, it's sort of like Japan and then China and then other branches and like that, Germany, Denmark, etc. I don't know exactly the numbers, but I know that we're a very strong branch and we've got a good, strong membership here. And please, tell your friends about it. The more members we get, the more we're able to grow the base. Okay, Petrino11 asks, why are all the blended malts bottled at 50% ABV? Very good question. They are bottled at 50% because that's where Exotic Cargo first started at 50. We wanted still a bit of punch in the malt without diluting it down to 46 or 40 or something. There's a lot of blended malts in the market, like your Naked Grouses, your Monkey Shoulders, things like that, even Chivas Altus. They're all 40%. There were some independent bottlings through a different independent bottler who were bottling their blended malts at 45, 46%. Ewan tried Exotic Cargo, and he tried, this is Ewan Campbell, I should provide some context, who's the head of whiskey in the UK for the SMWS. He tried the Exotic Cargo and Pete Ferry both at different proofs. And those two are the benchmark, and we've maintained 50% since because it's a bigger proof than most blended malts are bottled at. And it means that, let's be honest, in some countries it might mean that it's a bit more accessible in terms of the palate and price. And that means that we're able to offer them at 50. If you think that's under proof for a blended malt, I'd love to hear what you think they should be bottled at, because I can always tell Ewan, because it actually, member feedback counts, and we love it. Calte, double pin up on the cruise and champs. You better back your chat, Bailey, or I'm making a custom pin. #Where's Bailey? You know what? I'll back it up. I might even wear 3 pins. How does that sound, Cal? Australia, punching as usual. Great Beyond Coburg joined. Good to see you. When you say support from the UK, what will see different now? More involved. Lockie, honestly, it's true that what I said to start with, really not much difference outward facing to begin with. It's just a much stronger support network that we're not sort of asking their support, they're sort of providing it now, being a subsidiary. So we are still very far away geographically, and we've got the delay overnight between with them, but it's kind of like, it means that the support when it comes to, especially to big member activations, things like the champs coming up, they are far more involved now, which is great. So it means first prizes, and the prizes might change a bit, and the venue might change a bit. Things like that. Things like the gathering, as I mentioned, things like our Christmas outturn, our supply of the Advent calendars. Because we're a bit stronger with them now, we get to pick a bit more the eyes out of it and actually grow a bit better as well, which is the most exciting part for me. Ambassador of the Year should know the exact populist numbers. That's an awfully specific request there, Travelling Whiskey Reviews. Thank you all the same, Robbie. You got something on your face, mate. Have I? Have I actually got something on my face? Are you asking? I don't know what I've got on my face. Anyway. Thanks, Ryan. Sounds awesome. SMWS Moonshine / White Dog Foolproof. Look, Calte, I don't think we'll ever see that. We are going to see some more Society gins coming through. We'll see some more Society gin, some more Society rum, Armagnac, cognac coming through, which is very exciting. But no, I don't think we'll bottle any White Dog. I think that's a step too far. Unless it was an extraordinary White Dog that was actually past panel blind and they deemed it worthy of bottling. I've never really had a White Dog or a new make that you would taste and go, oh wow, that's worthy of being in a Society bottle. I think they've been good, but I've tasted some good ones, but none great, if that makes sense. Well, no, that's not true. But still, you've got to sort of have this, the market quality associated with it. Have a shave, you Darrow. Oh, you get me on board for brandy. We actually did bottle some brandy. We bottled some this is years and years and years ago, well before my time. It wasn't brandy actually. It was a no. I don't want to get that wrong. I'm not sure. There was something bottled very interesting like that. But just get some. You could just get some. Look, we bottled cognac and Armagnac. Close enough. There you go. Yeah. Always nice with your comments, Great Beyond Coburg. Always appreciated. I'm enjoying, for those who have joined the stream late, by the way, these questions are bloody awesome. Thank you so much. 16.39, sweetness and spice laced with mystery. It was February's Malt of the Month, and I'm just enjoying a dram of that. And to announce formally tonight to talk about branch transfer and how we are now going to be a direct subsidiary of the SMWS rather than a franchise. For you, it basically means business as usual. You're going to enjoy all the things the Society's been offering so far and more. And we are growing every year already, which is great. And it's great to have such a great team on board. So, by the way, it should go without saying, but the team that you know and love at the Society is unchanged. Andrew Durbidge is still our New South Wales State Manager and Cellar Master and Director. I'm still your National Ambassador and Development Director. And then we've got Susie Torres as our Membership Services Director and Donnell Hampshire in accounting and membership. So we've still got an amazing team. That's not changing at all. And all your state managers across the country are unchanged. And so that's exciting as well. We're keeping state managers. We're keeping everything. It's business as usual. They love what we're doing. They're just coming in and taking over the actual ownership rather than the running it, which is great. Any bees that are planning to be on the panel? Yeah, we've had some bees recently. Now, for those with a keen eye who are keeping an eye on things, on what we've been writing up, you'll see in I think the previous Unfiltered magazine, this one, which I think if you'll well and truly have by now, there is a few references in there to how Kai and Ewan have been traveling in the United States a fair bit, and they've been exploring the distilleries in Kentucky and elsewhere. And New York even, distilleries in New York. By the way, I literally flipped open to some Aussie members. Look at this. You guys made it to the international issue. Here we go. See if you can spot yourself in that photo there. Or if you've got a copy at home or online, you can skip to page 22. But that was the issue 44 there. And that was very cool, that one. Over your left shoulder is a black and white books. What are they? A stack of white books. Oh, sorry. That's copies of the Pip Hills book. They might not come into focus very, very well, but that's the Pip Hills Founder's Tale book. They're maybe not in very much focus. I've got a few spare copies in the office here. Hey, it's me. Yeah, it was you, Lockie, actually. It was Lockie, Georgia, Inoka, and... Look, I'll come back to it. Any old paper labels or old bottles, 2017, 2019, in the warehouse in some boxes that will go up before the new bottles. Look, I mean, there's no paper label stock in our inventory anymore. We used all that up for the Vault 1682 tasting last year. I still have 1 or 2 paper label bottlings of my own, and I've still got a whole bunch of previous livery as well. Nothing is going to go up on the Society website, I don't think, unless there's something that is languishing in the warehouse that we forgot about that we've got to put up on the website. I don't really think so. So no. Wow, a million miles an hour. I'm going to have another sip of this. That's really come alive. That's amazing. Anyone who managed to jump on a bottle of this 16.39 is in for a real treat. That's remarkable. Question from Whiskey Steeds. Is Andrew state or nationwide chairman? Andrew is a director in the new company, in the new setup. So he's very involved, but he is the New South Wales state manager, as opposed to me, who is also director, but I'm also national ambassador. So no, he's not nationwide. You will sometimes spot Andrew doing events around the country, though, because he often is able to coincide it with his day job, and he's able to do events in other cities sometimes, which is great. If you get a chance to ever get to one of Andrew's tastings, they are fantastic. They are truly. He's an encyclopedia of wisdom, whiskey and wisdom. Yeah, I get it now. Scott McInnes joined. Good to see you. Sometimes I debate ever going on holiday or just spending it on special casks. Yeah, I know the feeling all too well, Lockie. I normally go for special casks. But you know what? It's sometimes nice to go on holiday. Maybe go on holiday and take a not so special cask with you. Maybe go on holiday and take a cask with you. Take a Young and Sprightly or a Sweet Fruity and Mellow or an Orlean Coastal with you. It doesn't have to always be black livery to take you on holiday, but it is nice if you can. Speaking of which, there's some super cool premium stuff coming through, and also some super cool accessible. You know what? I'm really excited about Malt of the Month for March, and I know that's a really vague statement, so I'm not giving any teasers. It's still 2 weeks out, so give me a bit of chance. But we're gonna have it's gonna be a fun outturn March. Before you go, how did you and AD go with those bottles? You mean the yes? So AD and I sat down for a tasting panel about 2 hours ago, just to sit down and work through some samples, and I have to be really careful with my words here. They are samples of local whiskey. Yes, they are Australian whiskies that we were sampling. They are a distillery that we have a good relationship with, and we're looking to taste some of their offerings. They sent us through 5 samples, which we tasted this evening. 4 samples that we tasted this evening, which was fantastic. And 2 of them are quite remarkable. 2 of them are only okay. And Andrew and I have talked about this before. The first time we bottle an Australian whiskey from the society, it can't just be okay. It has to be remarkable. And if that means it takes time, it takes time. So we're working on a few things. There's a few distilleries we're working with at the moment, which is really exciting. But that's all I can really say at the moment. And I wouldn't even know what else to say there. There we go. Wow. Which Malt of the Month, Feb or March, is better? They're very, very different, Cal. There's not one that's better than the other one. I'd say for me, this would be sort of like a nice late night Saturday kind of dram. One that's really sort of like fun, a real fun sort of Saturday dram, like a late night Saturday kind of whiskey. Whereas the Malt of the Month for March is the kind of whiskey that you could very confidently take to a picnic or a barbecue and share around. Especially a picnic, a Sunday afternoon picnic kind of dram, which is a distillery that we all know and love. It's a well-known distillery, and it's one that is in the Sweet Fruity and Mellow profile. I can tell you that now, and is going to be a cracker of a whiskey. It won't hang around on an outturn day, I guarantee you. Lockie, I'm not going to quite dignify that with a response. So there we go. That's where we're up to tonight. I really appreciate you tuning in. I'm just going to clock in the 30 minutes tonight, and I really appreciate it. And I'll catch you all on the other side, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow is the Friday stream, which is today's Thursday, I hope. Yeah, tomorrow's the Friday stream, which will be the last stream of the week. And I really appreciate you tuning in as always, asking amazing questions. And I hope you're actually sitting and enjoying a dram with me tonight. And you know what? If you want to tune in tomorrow night we might do a bit of an interactive live stream. So we're going to try a few things out. If we can do an interactive live stream tomorrow, we will. And if you want to tune in at 8 o'clock tomorrow, 8 p.m, and sample a few drams along the way, then do so. And I'll see you there live. And you can tune into the stream with your face and have a chat. And that'll be really fun. We'll see how we go. Whiskey Wisdom, just wow, indeed. Thanks, Ryan. I'll see you all tomorrow night. Cheers.